Welcome to another episode of Retro Rewind. We are going to be talking about one of our beloved retro classics, Chrono Trigger, and actually, no, sorry, Chrono Cross. Yeah, this one. We're going to be talking about this one. For anyone who's playing Chrono Cross for the very first time, it might not have as many references or connections to Chrono Trigger as you may have thought or imagined there to be. Well, Chrono Cross is based in 1020 AD, when Chrono Trigger present era was in 1000 AD, so that makes Chrono Cross 20 years ahead of when Chrono Trigger present time would have ended. I was probably like 12 or 13 when I played Chrono Cross for the very first time, and I did love the game for many different reasons, but I think I was more inclined to play just because it had Chrono in the title. I remember during my first playthrough of Chrono Cross, I was hoping that there'd be more Chrono references. They did plug a few small ones in. They had Chrono, Marl, Luca, and their like adolescent ghosts there. And then they also had a few references to Robo, Prometheus, and then they also had Luca's house burning down, which was super sad, but I liked it. I liked it. I liked seeing Luca's house in the 3D world, which was really different than the 2D world in Chrono Trigger. It does not mention what happens to the Chrono crew though. That's like a whole other video on its own. There's a lot of theories around what happened to the Chrono crew. It did have some teeny weeny little references that kept me engaged, and I just wanted to know more and more about Chrono Trigger because, I mean, back then you didn't really have Google or anything like that, so you're just like immersing yourself in the sequel, trying to like dig more into the storyline that you love so much. Just forewarning, there's going to be spoilers in this video, so if you have not finished Chrono Cross, please finish that first. I think there's also like a bit of spoilers of Chrono Trigger, but I mean, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger, then you suck. But today, we're going to be talking about the most mind-boggling, cray-cray, unexplained plot gap in the Chrono Cross game. Why is Schala's hair blonde? When we all know her to have light blue hair, kind of like maybe like Sailor Neptune. Wait, she has turquoise hair. I mean, no one really has blue hair, so that stands out to you. But it went really nice with like her purple. Oh, I actually just noticed my colors are kind of like Schala's colors right now, so very coincidental. Before we go into the theories, I just want to mention that Kid is one of Schala's clones. And I do say one because there's other theories out there that also say another character in Chrono Cross, won't say who, is another one of Schala's clones. But today we're just going to be focusing on Schala, but the mention of Kid is important because she is brought up in the PlayStation 1 version of Chrono Trigger. Kid has blonde hair, blue eyes, and that's how we know her as. So let's jump into the theories. Theory number 1. When Schala merged with Lavos, who's an alien being, it also morphed Schala's looks, including her size, because I mean, her hair turned blonde and she turned significantly younger. And also, Lavos being an alien being, we don't quite know what happens when one merges with an alien being. So that's the first theory, but you have to also recognize that Lavos looks different than he did in Chrono Trigger. And that could be because, I mean, it looks like Lavos without the shell almost. It's almost like a lobster when it goes through that cycle phase of like losing its shell and building a new one, you know, so it's kind of like going through that, I don't even know what it's called, like a new crustacean is being built. Anyways, I've been watching way too much lobster videos on YouTube. I don't really know if this theory has any merit, to be honest. It's the like weakest theory in my books, but it's definitely a fan theory out there. Theory number 2. This Schala is from a different dimension. This one could have some truth to it, kinda. I mean, the writers tied in the Chrono crew a little bit throughout the Chrono Cross series. For example, you have Magus, who could be Guile in the series, or there's also another playable character, Leah, who looks almost identical to Isla in the series, who's one of my favorite characters because she's super OP. Or there's also even the swordsman named Glenn. I mean, we know Glenn as Frog, so any comparisons there? Or it could just be Easter eggs that the writers had plugged into the Chrono Cross series to keep us engaged. Theory number 3. Carryover of bad writing from Radical Dreamers. Radical Dreamers was Chrono Trigger's actual sequel, not Chrono Cross. So Radical Dreamers was released in 1996, and Chrono Cross was released in 1999. The original writer of the Chrono series, Masato Kato, he actually built the concept for Radical Dreamers, but he handed it off to his peers to help finish. And because of that, he was unhappy with the way that Radical Dreamers had played out, so hence he went down his journey of creating Chrono Cross. But in between that, he actually launched a PS1 version of Chrono Trigger in 1999 as well. And that version had a bunch of additional plot that they added into it to add more color to the Chrono Trigger game. And in that PS1 version, they also dropped the bomb at the end of the game. So if you beat the game on PS1, you'll notice that there's a cutscene where Luca finds a baby in the forest with a pendant. And that baby has a bit of blonde hair at the front, and it's supposed to be Kid, and that's the speculation behind it, and that's confirmed in Chrono Cross. Now because of that, the peers who took on Radical Dreamers, they introduced Kid in that storyline, and Kid had blonde hair. She was a thief at the time, and they had to kind of carry over that blonde hair in that Chrono Trigger re-release for PS1. Now because of that, there was this huge plot gap, and Masato was just like, you know what, screw this, you now have blonde hair, and that is that. So that's pretty much the plot gap theory. Theory number 4, Lavos absorbed Scala's magic, and hence it turned her blonde. Physics, guys, it's physics. It's science. And when he did, he sucked out her magic so well that he even sucked out her hair color. Isn't that just wild? He turned her into a basic bitch, pretty much. And, I mean, kind of turning her into an earthbound one, which was something that she resented, or the people of Zeal resented. Not her. She was a lover of the earthbound people. But there are some ties to this theory into the next theory, which is theory number 5. She was already a natural blonde. Isn't that crazy? It's wild. She was a natural blonde to begin with. Yeah, we were the ones who were wrong the entire time. We thought that she had blue hair, but no, she actually had blonde hair. Look at the royal lineages across Chrono Trigger. Starting back in the prehistoric era where Isla and Kino were the head of the Yoka tribe. Isla and Kino are both blondes and hold the leadership titles. Fast forward to the present age where Marl reigns as the upcoming queen, and she also carries that blonde trait. And there was a scene in the early gameplay of Chrono Trigger where they briefly go through the sprites of the past queens of Guardia, and they all strikingly have blonde hair. It's not confirmed Zeal has any relation to these eras, but if we look across the patterns of blonde hair, there's also one other thing, and that's the one stone that links these royalties together. In the prehistoric period, the people valued the red rock called the Dreamstone, which is the same material that Marl's pendant was created from, and also Scala's pendant. This pendant was found on Kid when Luca discovered her, and this is also something that just ties these 3 eras together. And this theory was confirmed, so this was the confirmed theory. In that chaotic, quick plot, band-aid fix re-release of Chrono Trigger on the PS1 in 1999, Square had some extra added context that they did into the storyline. And they released more storyline even in the DS version, so if you haven't played the DS version, there's even more storyline in this one. They released a fact that one of the Earthbound people had said, which was the people and royals of Zeal dyed their hair blue. Now fast forward 20 years, Scala's been with Lavos this entire time. She doesn't have the luxury of going to Walmart and buying L'Oreal box dyes or Manic Panic. They have the crazy colors, right? So her hair grew out and she de-aged because that makes sense. It all makes sense. Everything makes sense now. We can all sleep at night. We can all move on with our lives. And there you have it, the biggest plot gap in Chrono Cross debunked. Happy? Cool. Which theory do you agree with? Let me know below. Personally, I agree with the dyed hair theory mixed with a bit of the bad plot writing theory. I think those are just kind of like a combination, and it was a quick way to remediate the screw-ups they already did in Radical Dreamers. I mean, they've already built a whole game, so are they really gonna retract their steps and make her hair light blue? Imagine working on this masterpiece and it's like your life's work, and then your colleagues screw it up by making some lady's hair blonde who's like a significant part of the sequel. But it makes sense because the people of Zeal wanted to differentiate themselves so much from the Earthbound ones. So, I mean, why not dye it a color that no one would ever dye it, like light blue? Why not dye it light blue, right? Just cuz. There's actually one more theory I didn't mention. Theory number 6. We're all colorblind.